Hey, yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Generational Beef Podcast. I'm your host, Tristan Terrell, as well as my dad.
No Terrell Generational Beef.
The Beef!
Beef.
Got a good episode coming. I forgot to mention it earlier, but last week was a record-setting episode. We had like 66, 67 viewers, something like that.
For the whole
Highest
thing?
of all time. Yeah, highest of all. Oh, I mean, I don't know about the whole thing, but
That's
most we've
it.
ever gotten on one video. So,
And I haven't watched it in like 2 months, so it's not me.
well, shout out to y'all. So that's pretty
But
dope. Hopefully you're
I don't
back
care.
again this week. Uh, we've got some good things to get going with. So let's just go ahead and get into it. We'll start off with a little bit of college football talk, specifically Brendan Sorsby, but kind of the state of college athletics as a whole. For those of you maybe that don't know, if you're living under a rock, Brandon Sorsby got caught gambling, specifically when he was at Indiana, and they said it was 40-something different occurrences that he had gotten caught with. And so basically he was going to have a lifetime ban from being a college athlete, and then he sued and won. So he's being reinstated and is going to be eligible to play. He's not going to miss any time, basically face no consequence. And that's kind of what it seems like all of college football specifically, but really college athletics as a whole has come to at this point. You want to play a 6th, 7th year, just apply for it. And then when you get rejected, appeal it. And then either your appeal will be upheld or it won't be decided on until it's too late. So then you get to play anyways. And, if you want to go in, I guess, gamble and whatever, things are very clearly against the rules, and then just appeal getting expelled from the sport and it gets upheld, great, do it. I mean, do whatever you want at this point. It's the Wild West. It's college football. Who cares?
You stole my word or my phrase. But look, here's the thing. We've been on a collision course with this exact thing for about 3 or 4 years. I don't have a problem with NIL.
Agreed.
But so there's some things. Essentially, what this ruling says is there is no law and order, no rule in college sports. You don't really have to be a student anymore. Most of these guys aren't even enrolled. You can make whatever. The coaches on these teams, it's going to be interesting over the next couple of years how many of these coaches. I mean, they're going to get paid a lot of money, so they'll stick around. But it's interesting because we've talked about this before. It's the current setup for NIL and the transfer portal makes it to where essentially, imagine running an NFL franchise, NBA franchise, whatever, and literally your entire roster is a free agent every season. So you have that. There's no real rules that govern this. You made the point. What was it, a few years ago? We had the 29-year-old tight end in Miami, or was it last year? Or he's 27 or 28. Like
It was at Oregon, but yeah,
played 9 seasons.
yeah.
There was a guy in Miami too. But anyway, the point is there's no real rules anymore. And now that there's money involved, if I'm a team and I can keep a guy for 8 years, he's not going to be an NFL player. He'll stick around and make $1 million a year for the next 8. And the NCAA is going to allow it. Now, in this case, they actually tried to do the right thing.
In many of the cases, there have been times where, they've tried to make a certain ruling, and that's what I'm saying. It just always doesn't matter because, like with Trinidad Chambliss, they tried to deny him eligibility, and then he Ole Miss, and then he appealed it and won.
But that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Why do any of it?
Yeah, great.
Right? Like, just say we're just a football program. We're just a softball program. Whatever. The school doesn't matter anymore. That's not a thing. They don't go to class. You make money. You can leave your team every year. There's no rules around it. There's no
now,
salary
for what it's worth,
cap.
I do believe that most of the athletes are still going to class. Does it have priority or anything? Probably not.
I don't know.
And
There's been a
they're
lot
also
of guys, especially when you get into the third and fourth year that they're not even if they graduated, they're still playing, but they're not in class anymore.
Right.
Like,
Well,
this
if you
is a common
graduated, that's
story.
different.
The
That if
point
you,
the point is, it's not that some of them aren't going, but they don't have to. There's no real eligibility.
I disagree. I think that
If a guy can play and not even be enrolled, then your grades are and nothing else matters. I'm not
well,
saying none of these guys are
that
going
only
to school.
happens for guys that have already graduated and they're a graduate transfer because they still have eligibility left. But I
When
understand
was the last time
your
you
point.
heard of anybody not being able to play because their grades weren't good?
Sure, but that's, I mean, never really been a thing. I get like
Well, it
fundamentally
has
sure.
happened.
No. All there have always been times throughout history. I mean, there's been several notable ones, but there's always been times where we've known, right, that grades numbers are getting fudged so that way these guys can play. Like, technically speaking, eligibility is a thing, but it's never really been a factor. I mean,
Look, you
like,
said it. It's the Wild Wild West. There's no
yeah,
rules. You can do whatever you want.
yeah.
Is that good for college football or college sports in general? Probably not. Is it good for the players? It is financially. Is it good for the character and everything they're supposed to be building while playing these sports? No. You're learning there's no rules in life. And that's dumb. Like, obviously, we all live it by rules, and most of them aren't going to make NFL money ever. So, the smarter ones are still going to school. They're getting their degree for free. Like, they're still taking advantage of that and making some money on the side, right? But it's it's gotten to the point now where if I wasn't such a fan of some of these sports, I don't think I'd watch them.
Yeah, I mean, I will
The
say,
product isn't as good as an NFL game, and the
well,
NFL has rules.
and I will say that, like, I've been on this train for a long time where, like, the second that OU is no longer relevant in a college football season, I tune out so much that, like, I, it doesn't even have relevance to me at all. Like, obviously, I know what's going on from week to week, and I know, like, who should be in, who shouldn't. Like, I've got an opinion on it and whatever, but my
See,
opinion
I'm
is
already I agree with you,
based
but
my opinion is based in, like, following what happens, not watching it. Like, once OU's out of it, I just, like, I'm not even watching the crap most of the
but
time because it loses all of its luster to me in the sense of, like, the difference between college football and the NFL. You already said, right? Like, the product isn't going to be as good because NFL football, it's just better athletes, better training, better coaching, like all this kind of stuff. So the saving grace for college football to make up that difference in the product is the atmosphere and the environment and the tradition and the just general raw emotion and caring that to some degree doesn't exist in the business part of a professional sport. It still does to some degree, but lesser. And now that college football has become this, it's gone. Right? Like, when we've talked about this, like, players don't hate Texas when they go to OU, and they don't yeah, it's a big game because they're both good teams and it's a rivalry, but they don't hate them. They don't like it's not burning in their soul to beat them anymore. And so it
yeah,
loses a lot of that.
but then there's the other aspects too, right? So you're right about what you said, right? If my team wasn't relevant, I'd probably still pay attention to football because I just love the sport. But
Yeah, and like I still pay
like, I
attention to it,
I
but
I've already tuned out on college basketball. I don't
yeah.
even know if I'd watch if OU was relevant. The product compared to the NBA is terrible. No one can hit a shot. Everybody wants to jack up threes. Fundamentals are dead. This is why Europe is taking over in the NBA, right? That's why you've had so many international players recently win the MVP. They're just fundamentally more sound than some of these guys coming out of
I
one and
also think scouting has just gotten better overseas with technology and stuff.
maybe
Like, I
so,
think
but
these
I
players
also think
always
but I
existed.
also think they play a more pure version of the game now. They're as fundamentally more sound than these guys coming out of a one and done. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. They have talent, they have athleticism, but they're not that good. And in the college game, it's hard to watch. It's slow. They're jacking up threes and they don't hit them like the NBA players do, right? They're not going to be in the NBA, but they also don't have a mid-range game that's any good. And so it's just it's college basketball has gotten terrible to watch. I watched more softball this year, OU softball, than I didn't watch really any college basketball. I watched a little bit around the tournament, but I would turn it on and I would just turn it off. Like it was just ugh. Or I would just have it on in the room, but I wasn't paying attention to it. It's just so slow. It's so hard to watch. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, now there's no loyalty with the players. They don't stick around. You don't know who your roster is going to be next year. They're all getting paid. Maybe they're in school, maybe they're not. Like it just
Yeah.
if the guy in the field doesn't care about your school, oh, why should you?
Yeah.
And none of them
Davos.
do. And look, fundamentally, I don't blame them. If you can make life-changing money and get a
No,
free education,
I don't blame any
I
player
don't
involved
blame them.
one bit. That
But look, there's some easy things the NCAA could do at this point, right?
yeah, no,
Maybe
it's
if they didn't get
completely
sued. But there are some rules. If all the schools agreed to these rules, like a salary cap, right? Like a mandatory minimum or a maximum on any player. If if you had some rules around the transfer portal, right? Like if you're a starter and your coach didn't leave, why do you have no reason to leave, right? Like tightening that stuff down so that a school doesn't have to be like completely starting fresh to build a roster every year.
yeah.
Like it's there's some simple things you could do now that it is a professional sport in essence to at
What
least because it's not even
so
about competitiveness to me because the big schools are always going to be better than the small schools. It's not even about
yeah.
um what's the word I'm looking for? Parity. It's not even about parity. It's just about you're going to eventually lose the fans and the
It's
stuff.
the ethics of it. It's just
Yeah,
values.
you're eventually going to lose the fans
I
because
mean, that's
again,
not true, like specifically in
you
football. Like
you
that's
won't
not
lose
you're
them
never going
all.
to
Hold
lose
on,
the fans.
you won't lose them all.
It's football.
But
You're not losing the
think
fans.
about it, if you can get you to stop watching because OU sucks, people will stop
For what it's
watching.
worth, I don't stop watching OU football even when they're bad. I still watch the game every week. I just am not
Well, you
necessarily
haven't really
cared.
gone through that in your life, but that's fair. Look,
I mean,
here's
and when I say that, I mean whenever they're out from potentially making the playoffs, which a good amount of my life I still have, right? Like they've made the playoffs 4 times, I think, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but the second you lose 2 times, you're on the brink, and the
yeah,
second you lose
but
a third, you're out. So,
you're missing the point though. At some point, you're an alum,
yeah,
right? A lot of people that goes to the games are alum. When the guy on the field doesn't love the school the way you do, which is a relatively new phenomenon,
yeah,
right?
right.
Eventually, why should you give a fuck? Like,
I mean, to some degree, you already pointed that out. It's the fact that I went there. I've got pride for it, right? So, like, that's never
but the
going to
guy on the
change.
field doesn't.
No, agreed. But my point being,
In fact, he might play for Texas next season.
I also just love football, and more importantly, I
No,
love
I do
OU
too.
football. So my point being,
He would
there
take
is
a lot
never
for me
going
to
to
stop watching college.
no matter how it ends up, no matter where the state of the game is, there's never going to be a year where I am not going to watch OU football. My
But
point
eventually,
kind of
and
was
the other thing too, and this
that
is
if
important.
they're not relevant, I'm just not super locked in on a national level
But the other thing
because
that
of
you're
it.
missing out on is this next generation coming isn't near as into sports as once past. And I'm not talking about your age group, right? If you have a fan base that's falling anyway, right? In some ways, right?
Sure.
In addition to that, the people on the field don't care about the school the way you do. At some point, this is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it definitely is a problem. That's for
Maybe not in
sure.
my lifetime, but could be in yours.
Yeah. All that to say, the Brandon Sorsby stuff is actually insane.
It's I don't even care about it as much as it just means there is no rule of law
Yeah,
in college
and
sports.
it's kind of just like you said, kind of it's just an imagery of the state of the sport as a whole, and it's the
Right.
state of specifically college athletics
Like I
as a
said, I used to
whole.
follow all college sports. I don't follow anything that doesn't keep my interest anymore.
Yeah,
and like college basketball is not.
Dabo Sweeney, he was talking about it, and his idea was that any player, no matter what, for whatever reason, does not matter, gets one transfer for free any without any repercussion. And then exceptions on top of that would be if your coach leaves, you can transfer, no punishment.
Still a little
And
weird because the school's the one paying you, but whatever.
I
I
mean,
get it.
sure, but um, and then the other thing he said was that if you graduate and you still have eligibility left, as a graduate transfer, you can transfer with no repercussion. But he said for any other reason, you have to sit out a year. And he was like, then kind of to your point of being a student athlete, right? He said then if you transfer and have to sit out a year, you can regain that eligibility, that 1 year of eligibility. He was saying like you sit out and it goes against your eligibility. He was like, but you can regain it if you graduate. Right. So then it's encouraging them to make that decision and that kind of stuff and to stay enrolled in classes and whatever. But he said, yeah, for the most part, like you can transfer once for free. And after that, like it's going to cost you. It's going to hurt you. You're going to have to sit out. You can't just all willy nilly transfer, play for 4 schools. Like we're not doing that. Will we ever get to a reform like that? You can hope. Will we? I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, it's not the greatest thing.
Yeah, I just right now I don't even know how much I care.
Yeah. All that being
This is
said,
gonna happen. They're
I'm
gonna
ready for
have a
football.
few weird things like this happen for real change to happen. Because
Yeah.
right now it's just dumb.
Yeah, it's not great. So,
And
um,
not for the players getting paid. I don't have a problem with it.
I
But I
am
do want them to be students.
for
I want them to have to get good grades. I don't want them to be able to transfer every year.
yeah,
There
I
needs to
know
be a
we
salary cap.
I know we've
Some
talked about it a little bit. I am all for players being able to be paid by outside companies, right? I am not okay with the NCAA saying, "Oh, they want to endorse you, but because you're a student athlete, you can't get paid." I'm not okay with that, right? Like Zion, his senior year had to turn down of high school, had to turn down a Nike offer, or at least table it, because if he had accepted it, he couldn't have played at Duke. I'm not okay with that, right? But I am completely against, and I have been the whole time. I am completely against, and that we're kind of seeing it with NIL and how crazy everything's gotten. I am completely against the school entity itself paying the player, and
and
everybody.
I get that because technically they already were. Especially if you go to a school like OU, you're getting a $40,000 to $80,000 paycheck because you're getting a free education if you choose to
Well,
take advantage
not
of it.
just that, you're getting a free education, you're getting free housing, you're getting free food, you're getting all this
Right.
stuff. And then people are like, yeah, but they can't even get a job, so then they have no money for fun stuff and whatever, yada. First of all, the school provides them entertainment and
But
like
even
they
if they
have,
didn't,
right.
just change that rule. Let me go get a damn job.
Well, sure. But also on top
That
of
was
that,
always a dumb rule.
but on top of that, I get it, right? If they're a full-time athlete and a full-time student, then you honestly don't even have time for a job either.
That's not why they
Um,
did it.
No, sure, but my point being that I get that that's a lot on your plate. You don't have time for it. But my point being, when I was a full-time student and worked as a full-time employee, right? I didn't have a ton of extra money either because my money went to tuition and to paying for gas for my car and for food. And I'm in a fortunate situation, right? I didn't have to pay to live, right? I didn't have to pay rent or anything like that. There are a lot of people in my spot that also had to pay rent on top of that. So my point being, the average college student doesn't have a ton of extra money either, right? That's part of the like college experience, and all of their crap is going to be free anyway. So I have always been completely against the school entity itself paying them
For
because they're
sure.
already dishing out a ton of money, and they're like, yeah, but they're making so much money on them. You're right, but also so much of that money goes right back to them, right? Because whenever they build a new training facility or they build a new stadium or they like, who does that benefit? Does it benefit me? No. when I'm going to school there? No, it doesn't. Right? Like, so you're right. It's
Well,
not going into their wallet to do whatever they want with it, but like it is going to them.
and the highest paid government job in every state of the union is a Division I football coach.
Yeah, for sure. So, and that's not obviously all taxpayer dollar because there's donors and stuff like that too. But you're right.
For a state school, I don't know that donors are paying any of that salary, but fair enough.
I mean, maybe in a direct sense, that's not
It's
where the
just like
money's going,
when
but
they
they're
rolled out the
donating to the
lottery. It's
program.
just like when they rolled out the lottery in Oklahoma and said it was going to fix the educational stuff, right?
Right, and it didn't because like 60% of
Well,
it goes to OU and
60%
OSU.
of it goes to OU and OSU. What
Yeah,
are you doing? And you're paying $8,500 a semester to go take a full load. Like, what?
yeah.
It doesn't
And
even make
that's
sense.
not counting school or anything because I didn't live there, or housing or
Right.
anything because I didn't live
Right.
there.
That was just straight tuition
Yeah,
for a
it's like
12-hour.
$20,000 a semester if you're gonna live there.
Yeah. So anyway,
So
okay, let's switch. I don't want to go to the NBA yet.
okay,
I do want to talk about Shohei.
all right,
And we haven't given him a lot of time on the show, but we have talked about him, right?
yeah,
He is the most transcendent player, I think, in the history of the sport. And I'm not
yeah.
a
No, I mean
student of the
absolutely.
sport, but look at what he did last year, and he couldn't even pitch.
Yeah,
He's one of the best hitters in the league.
yeah,
He's doing something this year, however, that could break the sport. It's early yet, right?
yeah.
Currently, his ERA through 2 months ranks 3rd all time, right? Which is in 21, Jacob DeGrom
DeGrom,
did a .56 ERA, and Juan Marshall from 1966 .59. Okay, the best full season ERAs, and right now Shohei's at .74 ERA, and he has 11 home runs. Just throw that out there, right?
right?
The best one since they lowered the mound in 1969. So the best ERA to end a season was a 1.53. He's half of that right now,
Right,
right? The best ever, and this was pre-1920, was a .96 in 1914 and a .86 in 1980. Anyway, point is, this is a much different sport today. The athletes are obviously better than they were in the early 1900s, right? The fact that he is the hitter that he is, and he's having a great hitting year again, and he has a .74 ERA, I I don't know
yeah.
what
No,
to do with that.
he's
It
stupid.
kind of breaks the sport.
Yeah, no, I mean he's stupid good.
Stupid good doesn't cut it. Like,
No,
he's
you're
doing
absolutely right.
he's doing historical things as a pitcher and as a batter at the same time. It is
And he's
a
a stupid athlete
.74.
too, because like
Yeah.
last year he became the first player ever to have 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases in the same season. Like, dude's fast.
Yeah,
Got
I
wheels.
saw this stat the other day about his ERA, and I was like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he breaks a 1 for the season and has 40 homers?
I mean, it seems unlikely, but
Yeah, I mean, the sample size, relatively speaking, is still low,
right.
right? Low-ish. I mean, we're 2 months in, right?
Right.
We're nearing the halfway mark. Um, uh, if he was to hit 40 and had a 1 ERA, like, we're
Yeah.
talking about the best season in the history of the sport.
Yeah. I mean, it would
I don't
literally
know
be
I don't know
like
how I don't know
it
how
would
you would argue
it would literally be like
it.
if there was a guy that was like Travis Hunter, right? But fully played every down both sides and had 1,200 yards and 8 picks.
Hold on. It's worse than that because he may not get picks because if you're that great, they don't throw at you, right?
Sure.
But it'd be like have a Deion Sanders center or a season
Yeah.
and Jamar Chase.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You would
No.
have to be those two guys in one season on both sides of the ball in football.
Right.
Like, that's what we're saying.
But also
Elite on both sides.
considering the value of pitcher and the value of a batter, it would almost be like on one side you have a Dion year, and then on the other side you're like Josh Allen. Like, that's almost what we're like value wise. Like, it's kind of asinine.
Yeah, no, there's currently no comparison in another sport.
Yeah.
Because even if you're a great hitter and an outfielder, you're taking most of that time off out there, right? I mean, let's
Right.
be honest.
Right.
A pitcher,
Yeah.
and unlike most pitchers, on games he doesn't pitch, guess what he still does?
Yeah.
There's never been value for the dollar in a player in Major League Baseball than there is in him.
Yeah.
Because he's an elite hitter. So when he's not pitching, he's still contributing. Most pitchers, they'll pitch their 20 to 25 games a year, and that's all you're getting.
Right.
He's hitting every game.
I mean, the obvious comp would be Babe Ruth, but he's even doing stuff that Babe Ruth never did, because like Babe Ruth pitched and was a good pitcher, but obviously made his career to be Hall of Fame, legendary, all time, one of the greatest levels as a hitter. And he didn't typically do both simultaneously. There were a couple years where he kind of did, but it was typically one or the other. And then obviously found a niche as a hitter and did that for the most part. But
I mean, let's give him a little bit of credit. His career ERA is pretty damn good.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
he pitched a 2.28 career.
Yeah.
And his best season was a 1.75. I mean, most guys would take that.
That's what I'm saying. So like
yeah,
he was really good.
He was really good.
Yeah. But again,
is he facing the same batters now? I don't know.
Sure. But you could also make the argument about him as himself, right? Like, he wasn't an elite athlete either, you know what I mean? So like,
yeah, I mean, but you know, that wasn't all that unusual then.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So like, you know, but yeah, no, Shohei is actually insane. Like, it's diabolical.
Like, he's gonna you know what it's not the same, but it kind of reminds me of. I didn't get into watching golf till Tiger. And it wasn't anything about his flair or anything like that, which he had. Like, he brought attitude to the sport we hadn't seen necessarily before. But he looked like an athlete.
Yeah.
Meaning he worked out, he had strength, he was slender. Most of the other guys had pot bellies, right? Doing all that. Like, he was an athlete that now is going to play golf. And not just play golf, he's going to dominate it. What do golfers look like now?
Right.
They look like what Tiger did. They're all built. They work out, right? It's not just about being able to hit a ball. They need to be able to hit it hard. They need to be able to be in shape. They need to be able to walk all day and not be too tired to finish the holes, right? Like, not that guys couldn't do it before, but you know what I mean from an endurance standpoint. Tiger changed the sport fundamentally because people had to do that to attempt to catch up. Shohei has that same ability here to make it where
hard disagree because that's never going to happen. He's not going to. People aren't just going to wake up and play both sides. It's not going to happen.
No, I understand that. There's a lot of natural ability we're talking about here. What I am saying though is there will be more value in the future on a guy that's a great pitcher that can learn to hit. They won't be showing.
But it's not going to happen, right? Like, people have attempted to before. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you're paying that position, right? To do 20, 25 games. The Dodgers are getting better value for what they pay Shohei than any pitcher in the history of the sport.
No, absolutely. But
my point is, I'm not saying it's the same. I'm saying it's what it makes me feel like when I talk about it.
No, I get you, but I guess also my point is, like, Tom Brady gave the Patriots more value than any quarterback in the history of the sport also, but it doesn't mean you're going to wake up tomorrow and get 5 Tom Bradys.
But that's because he took a hometown discount.
Sure, but I guess that
has nothing. If he was getting the big
I guess technically speaking, so is Shohei. Shohei's technically taking a hometown discount, because you could say that he could make the argument that he deserves the salary of 2 players, and he's not getting the salary of 2 players. So in a
No,
technical sense,
but
that's my
that's my
point. Is like
point.
that's the value you're getting to for him, is that he's so valuable because he takes up the role of 2 players
But he's not
simultaneously.
just playing 20 games a year. He's
Right.
playing
Well,
60.
but that's my point, right? Is like with Tom Brady, the reason that his value is so much was because he willingly took a discount. With Shohei, the reason that his value is so much is because he is willingly filling 2 players' positions at an elite level at the same time.
No, I agree.
My
point
being
is
is that people aren't going to wake up tomorrow and just do that.
No, you're not. And you didn't wake up the next day and people weren't competing with Tiger either. My point is, there is going to be more of an emphasis in the future to find the Holy Grail. And they don't have to be a Shohei hitter. Just get a guy who can get on base.
I guess my point being in general would be that you're right. For about a decade or more, nobody ever competed with Tiger. You're right. But my point being is, now you look around golf, and like you said, everybody at least fits the mold. They may still not compete with prime Tiger. Most of them wouldn't, right? But they fit the mold. You're never going to look around, I don't believe, at least. You're never going to look around and say that every roster has a guy that can, even if not to the level,
that's not
plays
what I'm
like
saying.
Shohei. I guess my point is, you're not going to find 3 players at one time that can all do it, like in the entire league.
And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, GMs are going to put a value on a guy that can even get close.
I guess that's just my point, is that it's just not going to happen, right? Like, not to say that it'll never happen again, right? Because people become the greatest of all time to at some point get passed up. It's going to happen.
There was a time where we thought that no one could play the way Tiger did.
Sure, I guess, but
Scotty's on that path right now.
Yes,
he's got a long way to go, like a decade. But
right,
but he's doing it right now.
I think that, kind of like I was saying, is there's a difference between changing the sport and defying it, right? Tiger changed the sport. Steph changed the sport. Shohei defies it. He hasn't changed fundamentally anything that anybody does, right? He just pitches really well and bats really well. Those are 2 things that people before him have done and people after him will do. He just does both simultaneously.
There will be case studies done here to find out what produced him.
Sure.
Yeah, there's natural talent, but there's more to it than that. There has to be.
Yeah. I'm just saying that they're going to fail. Is all.
I'm not suggesting anybody's going to be him, but we never thought there would be anybody like him either.
That's right. Again, not to say that eventually, someday, somebody won't come along and it won't happen at some level. All I'm saying is that it's not like every team is going to go out there and be like, well, we got to find the next Shohei. And then even if it's not to that level, it's going to work, right? It's just not.
Here's what I can tell you right now. I am more interested in the MLB right now than I have been maybe my entire life.
No, yeah, and that's completely fair. And he's definitely obviously doing that for the sport. But
I am here for it. I want to see it. I want to see him do it.
Yeah.
So
he's insane.
I'm more interested in MLB right now than I have been my entire life.
He's insane. That's for sure.
And I lived through the era of Sosa and McGuire, right? And Barry Bonds. That was crazy times.
I was going to say, just not shout out Barry Bonds there.
Well, I mean, all 3 eventually got pinged for it. But
no, yeah. Yeah.
But my point is that was just one thing, and it wasn't really a big deal to me until the end of the year. His hitting is that way, but right now his pitching, like, I want to see that it continues. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah. No,
when you can simultaneously be the best pitcher and the best hitter in the sport, I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
And like last year, he couldn't pitch.
Yeah. And
but he still contributed in big ways.
Well, not contributed in big ways. He literally won the MVP. But
yeah, I mean, didn't he have 50+ homers last year?
Yeah, and he had like 45.
And wasn't he hitting over 300?
It was probably something close to that, yeah. But he's insane.
Yeah.
He's stupid. Like, it's actually absurd. And then, like, the one World Series game that went into crazy extras last year, and he got on base like 6 or 7 times, I think it was. Like, he was like, yeah. No,
Yeah.
he's stupid. So
All right. NBA Finals.
shout out Shohei. Yeah, the NBA Finals. We'll get there. Another freak. Another freak. You know, I mean, absolute freak. Victor Wembanyama. Listen, what we've learned in this series is that whether or not you want to say he's the best player in the world, the way for them to win this series is for him to be the best player in the world. We saw that in game 1 and 2 because he wasn't, and they lost. And we saw that in game 3 because he looked like it and they won. He
Still
was,
didn't have double-digit rebounds.
I mean, but I'm not worried about that. There's so many more things that he provides value to. And again, it's not like it hurt them. And that's part of the scheme. That's part of having other people to help out, right? Like, there's so many things that are more valuable than that. Karl Anthony Towns, he had what, 10 points in that game? Because,
They weren't getting him the ball. That was New York's fault. Not it
I
had
mean,
nothing to do with
partially, but
no,
also,
that's what it was. I
but
watched.
I mean, I did too, but partially that is true. The Knicks got to scheme some stuff up that it looks better than how it looked
Do
in
you know right now
game
there's
3.
literally only one statistic that the Spurs lead the Knicks in the series?
Which is,
Blocks by 0.0 or by 0.7. Every other major statistical category is led by the Knicks right now.
but my point being that it would say that in every sense of the word, that means that the Knicks should be running away with the series, and the only
They
reason
are.
that,
They're up 2-1.
I mean, they're not running away. That's a 1 game
They
difference.
lost by 4 last night. 4,
They won by
right?
1 the night before, the game
I
before.
know, but they lost by 4, and they were outshot from the free throw line 25-8 in the second
Sure.
half.
But I guess my point is that the biggest reason why all those numbers are true and the biggest reason that they still lost was because the other side is Victor Wembanyama.
Can
And
I
so,
just say something real quick
sure.
about Spurs fans? All we heard from those little wusses, Oklahoma City's dirty. Oklahoma City flops. Blah, 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 blah. That's all they're doing. They are dirty as shit. And for whatever reason, the league is refusing to call them flagrants. They called that asinine flagrant on Brunson last night. And there were 2 others they reviewed for the Spurs last night and then didn't call it. And they're running through them with elbows. Like we saw it in our series where they changed it after the game on Plumlee to a flagrant. Same 2 plays last night. They did the same thing and reviewed it and said it wasn't. Jalen wasn't even facing the shooter when it occurred. Like he had just turned around and was ready to block out. That's all it was. And they called it a flagrant. Like, I'm not going to say anything about the officiating necessarily. This is more about the fans. Because even if you go back to the Oklahoma City series, if you took all free throws out of the game, we don't shoot any and they didn't shoot any. We win in 5, including game 1 in regulation.
Right.
The Spurs have led every team they played in free throws, and it has made a big difference for them. So all of this BS about fouling and dirty players, right now the dirtiest team that's been in the playoffs has been the Spurs. Starting with Wemby, looking at a guy and elbowing him in the throat, and then lowering his shoulder and running through Caruso. And then what's-his-face did it last night, right over Brunson. Like, they're doing it all over the place. And when they review them, they're never giving them flagrants.
I would say that there is something to that. There is value in what you're saying. I also,
It just pisses me off because that's what they're actually doing is what we were accused of. And if the Spurs had lost that series against us, the narrative would have been it was free throws, free throws, free throws, fouls, fouls, fouls. Bullshit.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
I understand that, and from a,
And it's the same in this series. 25-8 in the second half, and you win by 4. You should have won it going away.
yeah, that nothing you're saying currently necessarily is unfair. I will also say, you're right, but the reason that they didn't just win going away, right, was outside of Victor Wembanyama and a couple timely shots from Stephon Castle. The Spurs didn't play a good game of basketball either, right? Like, it was a very poor game, I would say, all around from basically everybody on the court the whole night, other than like Victor Wembanyama, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart were both really, really good. Everybody else on the court was kind of trash. And like I said, fourth quarter, Stephon Castle had some moments as well. The
I mean, you're
shot
saying that as
specific.
Brunson still scored 30 and had to miss part of the third because of foul trouble.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, still inefficient and still whatever. But
I mean,
like,
but we know everybody that plays the Spurs now is going to have an inefficient guard.
yeah.
They did it to the most efficient guard on the planet Earth right now.
Yeah, I guess my point is just that, like, it was a pretty ugly game all around from most players. And so that's a big part of it.
Here's the thing, and I need to give credit to the Knicks. I discounted their entire playoff. No, that's not fair. I didn't discount their playoff run.
No, you did. No, you absolutely. You said they played three bad teams. No, that is exactly what you said.
They did, but that's not the point.
That's not true.
There's a difference between beating mediocre teams, which is what they're actually, but for playoff teams, they were bad, right? There's one thing in beating bad teams and it's close, you're taking 6, whatever. They did what a great team should. They destroyed them.
I feel like somebody said that last episode.
I did too. I agreed with you.
No. Because
hold on.
I said it's not like they were close. They were dominating them, and you said they should have.
Right, which is what
but that means you're discrediting them.
And I agree. I just said I did that. My point I'm making is they're the best team left in basketball. Right now, the way they're playing, I don't know that we would have beat them either. That's just a reality check. We didn't get through the Spurs. I
think they might match up much better with the Spurs than they do with us. So I think it's different, but I think it's possible.
Hold on. But you know what the Knicks are doing that I was screaming for us to do? They're not avoiding the paint. They're challenging Wemby. They just are.
Brunson is. I would say, like, everybody else, I would say right now the biggest difference for them compared to us is that when Brunson kicks it to somebody else or when Cat kicks it to somebody else, they've got guys that confidently will hit the shot.
They've got a guy in back-to-back games that dunked with Wemby in the
Sure. Us, one play, sure. Us, my one play in a game, my point being, us, outside of Caruso in game 1 and game 2, and then Jay Will in game, was that 4? 3, 5, somewhere in there, 3, I think. Jay Will, and my point being, outside of those, when we kicked it anywhere, nobody hit a shot ever the whole series. The Knicks are torching the Nets right now. And
you're not wrong, but here's
the difference, really.
I
would just say that in their limited drives, it looks more effective because their outside game is more effective. That's really what it is.
What the Knicks have to do in the next game is get it to Cat every time, because most of the time Wemby's not playing Cat.
Right. Nor should he be. Well, he
Why not?
Be. Because then the entire paint opens up. That's
not
the point.
The paint. I'm talking when he's in the paint.
Karl-Anthony Towns isn't in the paint. That's my point, because they're trying to get Wemby out of it.
There's several times where he was. I'm not making this up.
For a couple seconds, sure. But my point being is that that's not the majority.
My point is every time that occurs, the Knicks need to get him the ball. And when they did last night, he scored.
I mean, rarely, sure. But
so here's my point. When we keep talking about Wemby's an elite defensive player.
I mean, he is.
And I'm not here to take that away. But
he's
to your
the best
point,
defensive player in the world.
When he's playing guards all the fucking time, of course he can block shots.
I'm not talking about blocks. I am talking about affected shots. He's the best defensive player on the planet by a mile.
Because he's 7'4" and has a wingspan of a 747.
Also, for what it's worth, that's first of all, that's not true. But also, for what it's worth, anybody else, right? You could say the same thing about Rudy Gobert, right? Rudy Gobert, he's not 7'4", but he's 7'1". If he's guarding somebody that's 6'3", he should have no problem in that case. That's not how it works. Anytime he gets switched on to any guard that's good, you know what happens? He gets cooked because he can't stay with
So does Wemby.
Victor Wembanyama can.
So does Wemby.
No.
Who's number 5 on the Knicks?
I don't know numbers. So
he's torched him twice that exact way from the 3-point line and dunked on him twice in the series.
I'm not going to say that a couple plays stuff doesn't happen, because nobody plays a perfect game on either side of the ball ever. My point being is that per average, right, it's not going to work. And Wemby is just the greatest defensive player in the world. I mean, like,
but part of that is just his size.
No, that's not.
Yes,
really.
It is.
We've seen 7'4" guys in the league before. None of them have been as good defensively as he is.
I'm not saying he's not a talented player. What I'm saying is if he's 6'10", he doesn't do what he's doing right now.
I disagree. No.
Stop. He's blocking that many shots if he's 6'10".
I'm not talking about blocks. I am talking about affected shots. And no, if he's 6'2", it's different. Sure.
If he's 6'10", he's not affecting as many shots either.
Yes, he is.
Part of affecting shots is where they can't see the damn basket.
But my point being that, yes, obviously, his size helps him, right?
It doesn't help him.
He's a better defensive player than Rudy Gobert. He's a better defensive player than Shaquille O'Neal. He's a better defensive player than Kristaps Porzingis. He's a better defensive player than Yao Ming.
Shaq on the block. Couldn't do it.
Shaq couldn't stop him either.
Yes, he could.
No, he couldn't.
Because he wouldn't be able to back him down.
I'm not talking about on the block. I'm talking about offensively, period. Because he could just run right by him. He's much more
doing it.
My point being,
Cat's doing it. You tell me Shaq can't?
He had a game. My point being that he is a better defensive player than all of these guys that are also as tall as him, right? Like,
I agree with you. He's a better player than other equivalent of his size. What I'm saying is he is an elite player. I'm not taking that. But I'm saying at 6'10", he's not the same guy.
He would still be a dominant player. He'd still be incredible.
But he wouldn't have the effect on a game that he does.
I disagree.
To act like his height doesn't matter is ridiculous.
No, obviously his height matters, and that's obviously a part of it. My point, like, Kevin Durant's height matters also. Duh. My point being that Kevin Durant, part of why he can score so efficiently is that because almost nobody can match up with him and he can shoot over everybody. But my point being that would be like saying that the only reason he shoots well is because of his height. Well, that's not true, obviously. Same thing with Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama is a stupid good defensive talent no matter what height you make him. Obviously, his height helps.
He is defensively skilled. I agree. I'm not arguing that. But you're trying to argue that he would be just as good as 6'10", and he wouldn't.
Okay, here's what I'll say.
He wouldn't.
Chet is 7'1". If Wemby and Chet were if Wemby and Chet were the exact same height, Victor Wembanyama still would have won Defensive Player of the Year unanimously this season.
I'm not arguing that.
So my point is then what's the difference?
There's a big difference.
The difference is massive between Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama.
I agree.
Or Victor Wembanyama and anybody else, right? Like, is my point.
The problem I have with you right now is we're saying the same damn thing. But I'm using logic.
No, you just discredit him, and
no,
I think that it's unfair.
He is an elite defensive player, and at 6'10", he would still be great. But he wouldn't be what he is.
He would still be an elite defensive player.
But he wouldn't be what he is now.
Fine.
He would
at 6'10", maybe. At 6'10", maybe he would not win Defensive Player of the Year unanimously. If he was 6'10", I promise you this season, he still would have been the Defensive Player of the Year. He's that good. It may have not been unanimous.
I'm not arguing that. But to act like he would affect shots the same way at 6'10" that he does at 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan is a ridiculous statement because he wouldn't. And that's not a skilled thing. You're not big enough to do that.
He would still be in positions the right way, and you would never know like how
people would not avoid the paint.
How he trains. I mean, people avoid the paint when Chet Holmgren's down there or when Rudy Gobert's down there.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Okay, statistically, literally nobody forced a higher dip in percentage at the rim this season than Chet Holmgren by a large margin, right? So that's literally statistically not true. Stats, I mean, like literally teams shot the ball like 15% less at the rim per game when Chet was on the court than per average.
You're
compared to like 9% with Victor Wembanyama. My point is like his rim deterrence is actually insane. So
you're acting like I'm saying something that's nuts. and it's not. You can be a great player, and I can acknowledge that, and understand that 7 inches or 4 inches on most game nights above anybody else that's there, and you're elite talented, is a game changer. It's not a
Sure,
game
but
changer at 6'10".
no, he still would be a game changer. My point being that you're right. Are there levels to this? Sure. Would I be talking about him as having the potential to be one of the greatest of all time if he's 6'10"? Maybe not, potentially, depending on how his career goes. I don't know. But my point being that if he had capped at 6'10", he would have figured out, as a guy with that level of defensive ability and that level of defensive instinct, how to still use his body in effective ways to affect shots. I mean, that's still an above average height in the NBA. But my point being that you're right, it would be different, but he would still be an elite defensive player. He would still be an all-time talent. It's just that he is also fortunate and lucky enough to be 7'4", right? So yes, that has an effect on it, right? If LeBron was 6'7", 230 instead of 6'9", 260, right? Yes, that would have an effect on his career, obviously. But LeBron still had the drive and the overall talent to be one of the greatest players of all time.
It's just like
Yes,
Shaq. You know
it
how big a fan of
matters.
Shaq, right? But if Shaq isn't 7'1", 300 and move like a point guard,
No, he
he would have
didn't move
sucked.
like a point guard. He was
For that size, he
he
did.
was an elite athlete for his size. He didn't move like a point
He
guard
was coordinated, and I saw him go coast to coast with a basketball. But whatever. My
on
point
occasion.
is, my point is, if he wasn't that big but also coordinated, because that's the problem with most guys that big, right?
Right.
They're not coordinated. They can't move. Wemby has some problems with that.
I mean,
He's a little bit like a wounded gazelle sometimes. He'll learn that, I think. He's still got some development to go. He loses control at times,
here's
but that's not uncommon for a guy that size.
sure.
I'm not knocking him
Here's
for
the
it.
biggest thing I will
Hold
say.
on, let me finish.
Okay.
I'm saying the same thing I'm saying about Wemby that I'd say about Shaq, and I think Shaq's the best, one of the best centers, definitely the most dominating player of his time from a physical standpoint, right? If he wasn't physically like that, he wouldn't have had the same career. It's just a fact.
That's fair. I just think that you discount players' skill
I'm not discounting
too
it.
much
He's an
for the
elite
sake
defender.
of.
He's an elite
I'm
defender.
talking just like Shaq too, right? Like, yes, obviously his size matters, but I'm saying, like, if Shaq instead of 7'2", 280 was 6'11", 250, you don't think he'd still be a Hall of Fame player? Like,
Maybe, but he wouldn't have done what he did.
no, yeah, and we probably wouldn't be talking about him as like the most physically imposing player in the history of the sport, obviously.
Correct.
But my point being that, like,
Because this is my point to you when you say Wemby could stop him or Chet could stop him. No, they couldn't. He would just push them out of the way.
I mean, but I
Couldn't
guess my
stop
point is nobody ever stopped
him.
Shaq. So
I know.
it's an unfair statement to say, like, oh,
You're just
Wemby wouldn't
making
stop him.
stop.
Agreed, but like nobody would.
But you're making my point for me. The same way Shaq could not have been the dominating player he was without the physical gifts. Physical gifts. He was talented too, but the physical gifts. Wendy is extremely talented and an elite player. But without that height, he is not the same guy. It's just a fact.
It would have an
It's not-
effect on how he
It's not
plays.
a
Sure.
knock. It's not a knock. It's just a fact.
Yeah. The biggest
Same
thing I
with-
wanted. The biggest thing I want to get to with this series, right? And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I do still believe that Victor Wembanyama has showed us that he is the best player in the world at this point. But what I will say is, through this series, what we have seen is that he's the best player in the world at the age of 22, right? Like, that's what we've seen in the series. Like, he has made a lot of mistakes that show,
It
like,
wasn't
this
LeBron?
is his.
At 22?
I would say, yeah.
Okay, then he's not the best player you've ever seen at 22.
No, I didn't say he was the best player I've ever seen at 22. I said he's the best player in the world, and I said what I've seen in this series. I disagree, but that's fine. But what I said is what I've seen in this series is that he is the best player in the world at the age of 22. Like, comma there. My point being that what we've seen in this series.
I agree. Comparing him to a 22-year-old, he is.
No, that's not what I said. What I'm saying is he's the best player in the world, but he's also 22. What we've seen in this series, right, is that a lot of the mistakes that have been made have been very, very telling of the fact that this is his first playoff run, have been very telling of the fact that he is 22 years old in his third season in the league, and crap happens. Like, normally players have to lose
So can't you
year
just
in,
pump the
year
brakes and
out
say
in the
he's not that
first,
guy
second
yet?
round to then go and make a deep run to learn from it. He's gotten there, and he's already in the finals, right? So he's already doing crazy, unprecedented, stupid stuff. And so then to look at what's happening in the series, a lot of what it shows, right, the end of game 2, right? I would also like to put some blame on Mitch Johnson there, especially when you have a team as young as this one, to sit there and get a rebound with 12 seconds left in the game, and then as the coach, you decide, I'm not going to call a timeout right there in a tie game. I think it's dumb, if for no other reason to ensure that you get the ball up court and you guarantee that either way your team gets to the last shot, right? But
I think you just trust the best player in the world.
To some
And he
degree,
threw it away.
sure. To some degree, sure. But I fundamentally, almost always, I am of the player of the standpoint, if you got a timeout in that situation, use it, right? Like, obviously we get moments through history where it doesn't get used, you let them play. Obviously the Steph shot is a big example, right? The Dame shot as well. Like, of course they all happen to have they have to happen against the Thunder, sure. But my point being, like, yes, you get these moments of all time where it doesn't happen, but I would say there's a lot on a game-to-game basis. There's a lot fewer of those and a lot more of somebody makes a mistake. Get your offense set, get your team up the court, at least ensure that you are the team getting the last shot. So that's the first thing. I want to like discredit Mitch Johnson there. Like, you need to manage late game situations a bit better, I think. But also, the end of game 2, and it is exactly purely showing that Victor Wembanyama is 22 years old, right? You can blame Stephon Castle for turning away from the ball. You can blame Victor Wembanyama for not just dribbling up the court. You can blame everything. It's all probably a part of it. You can blame Mitch Johnson for not calling a timeout. But at the end of the day, that's a mistake that Steph Curry or LeBron James in that spot, Michael Jordan in that spot, doesn't make, obviously. He's 22 years old, right? Shea or Jokic in that spot doesn't make that mistake, most likely, right? He's 22 years old, playing in his first playoff run still, and he made a crucial mistake. And then after that, Brunson got the ball and he fouled him. And then after that, goes and missed the game-winning shot, right? Which was actually a relatively good look. My point being,
So hold on.
all this compounds on itself to show, like, yeah, he's still 22 years old. So yeah, he's got all the talent in the world. He's stupid good, but he's made some fatal mistakes
So
in the series.
let me ask
for
you
sure.
a question. You just said it. LeBron, Shea, Jokic, Jordan, these guys in that scenario probably don't make that mistake. I agree with you.
As of today.
My point is then, doesn't that mean if he's not fully baked yet, right? He's clearly making young person mistakes still.
Yeah, for sure.
That at this point in his career, he's close. He can get there, but he's not quite there yet.
I think that he is genuinely that talented. No, I think that he is genuinely that talented that even with the baked-in mistakes of inexperience and young age,
if
that he is that good. Huh?
If those mistakes cost you the finals.
Yeah, considering the fact that Shea also made crucial mistakes that cost him a title this year as well.
Yeah, but he had no one helping.
Agreed.
Victor's had a lot of guys playing very well.
He did in the last series. I would say so far through this series, not really. Like, they've all been bad, including him for a good amount of it, but they've all been bad.
Castle's right there with him. He's scoring. Vassell's been playing well.
I mean,
Harper's played well. Like, I'm not sure where you're getting that.
I think that they've played well in spurts. My point being that, like, most of last game, Stephon Castle was not very good. He was very timely in the fourth quarter. He had a couple major shots. Right, like De'Aaron Fox did nothing in that game. He was actually trash. Devin Vassell has been really good for their defense, and he's had his moments. Right, Dylan Harper was good coming off the bench, but also a Mitch Johnson kind of mistake thing. He's still coming off the bench. He's still not playing as many minutes as De'Aaron Fox. He should be in the starting lineup. I guess my point is that this is all kind of a growing pain series for this team.
All 5 starters are in double digits average points.
Oh, I mean, and that's good. That doesn't mean that, like, he has insane amount of help. It just means that, okay, they're playing enough minutes to get counting stats. I'm just saying that I think from what I'm watching in this series, every single player on that roster is playing worse than they did in the last series. That's all I'm saying right now, including Victor Wembanyama. Like right now he is, right? But it right now is just maybe we're just on a collision course with fate, right? And it was just predetermined fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, that the Knicks were going to win a title. And doesn't matter, right? Like you said last week that
They're just a better team right now.
we played the finals already in the Western Conference, and you said that
And I believe that.
the Knicks hadn't played a team of this caliber of the Spurs,
And they
and
hadn't.
fundamentally on paper, I still agree to that statement. The point
Yeah, I
being,
agree with both of those.
maybe we're just on a collision course with fate, and it doesn't matter how good the team on the other side is because the Knicks are just going to win it. It doesn't matter.
Can I just talk about one more thing, and then we need to make predictions and move on?
Okay.
I don't think enough is being said or made of the point that a Villanova team that won 2 national titles, and you know how hard that is. The NCAA tournament's one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. I don't like to watch it anymore, but it is one of the harder things you're going to do in sports because you have to go perfect. You can't lose a game. It's not a series. You
Right.
lose, you're out. And they did it twice.
And it's not like the NFL playoff. Well, and it's not like the NFL playoffs where you're winning, depending on what seed it is, 3 or 4 games, and you have to go perfect.
Right.
It's you're winning 7 or 8.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
3 of those guys are on this next team.
Yeah. No,
you know
I mean, it's crazy impressive.
Maybe they're just winners.
No, they are. And that is definitely true. They are for sure.
I totally
and obviously their
disrespect
chemistry is great as well. They all play well together. They all love each other. I mean, hell, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart have a podcast together, right? Like,
yeah, like, look,
I mean, they love each other.
I disrespected them. I've never disrespected Brunson. I've always said if he's in, you have a chance. I've always said that about Brunson.
Actually, when I questioned the possibility of the chance,
no, stop. When you said, well, if so-and-so's in the game, you're not being fair to Luka because you're saying if he's in the game,
no.
And I'm like, no, if Ant's in the game or if Brunson's in the game, you got a chance.
No. I'm talking more recent than that. Last week, whenever we were previewing the series, I just brought up, I said, what if the Knicks do it again? What if they just surprise us? And you literally, quote unquote, you said, I mean, I said, so there's no chance? And you said, I mean, if Wemby and Castle get hurt, then I guess, sure, they have a chance. That's what you said.
No,
So you were not actually giving them a chance.
No, but what I have always said with Brunson, I would never count that guy out. Did I think they had a chance of winning the series? No, because I thought they were significantly undermanned. They're not. I was wrong. There's no question about it. My point right now is no one's ever come back from an 0-2 lead where those 2 games took place in your home court. It's never happened, and it ain't going to start now. So I think Knicks team will win game 4. I think they'll go up 3-1. Maybe the Spurs get the game back in San Antonio. I think best case for the Spurs, this goes 6, but New York's winning. They're not going to lose both games in the Garden.
I think everything lies on next game.
Well, obviously.
If
it goes 2-2, then I guess anything can happen. Do I think this Spurs team is the team that's going to buck 100 years of precedent? No.
Now, I would also say that typically speaking, whenever you get a series like that, it's not that, right, a team has never been down 2-0 and come back. It's that they've never been down 2-0 at home and come back. Typically speaking, what happens...
That's a big deal.
Right. Well, typically speaking, what happens in those cases is either A... maybe the team on the other side had an injury throughout the year or whatever, and so they were, their record was lowered due to injury, and now they're at full strength, so they're actually just a much better team, right? Or B, conversely, you have an injury, and so you're not playing to the level of team you are. My point being that for some reason, some way, there is like an actual significant roster difference between the team that lost those 2 games at home and the other team, right? And I don't believe that to be true right now. I do believe that the Knicks are playing much better basketball, and I do believe that like I've said, the biggest issue for them so far is that the Spurs and Wemby and the entire team as a whole is playing inexperienced. They are playing like they've never been in the finals before. True, right? And like they don't really have the reps. True, they are. But I guess my point would be that now that they've got a few games under them, now that they've seen the blueprint, now that they've won the game, We can talk about reasons why or whatever, but now that they've won the game, now that they've seen the ball go in the net some, I can convince myself, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I can convince myself the world where it is reasonable for the Knicks or the Spurs to still win this series.
Here's why
I guess
I think here's why I think the Knicks win the next game. Aside from the fact that it's an MSG, and I just believe they're going to win one of the two, right? And they already lost the one, so I don't see it happening. I have to assume that things are going to equalize a little bit in game 4, and you're not going to have a 25-8 free throw discrepancy in the second half. That's
sure,
the difference in the second half.
but you could also get a much less efficient OG Anunoby game or Josh Hart game or
But that usually doesn't happen when you're at home.
sure.
And we're at home.
You could also get a more efficient De'Aaron Fox game who shot like 4
You
or 15
could,
in that
but
game
again,
or something like that. And
but
but
you
he's
could
not a
probably,
role.
but
But he's not a role
I know,
player.
but
He's an
I
all-star.
know that, but you have to assume that Castle and Vassell and those guys are going to be less efficient on the road.
I mean,
that's typically how it goes. So
I mean, Vassell was 3 of 4 in that game, right? And
I didn't say he
Stefan.
didn't good.
No. You said he would be less efficient. He took 4 shots. It's not like he
In
had a
that
crazy
game,
game.
and they won. Chances he's going to do that every game on the road is not good.
You're not
He
listening
didn't
to
do
what
it
I'm
every
saying.
game on.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. My point is, you're acting like he had a crazy good game. He was okay.
I didn't say that.
He took 4 shots.
I did not. I know. I didn't say he had a crazy good game. I don't know where you got that.
Because you said that he would be less efficient and he would whatever. He didn't have a major impact. Like, he was good, but he wasn't like.
I mean, 12
insane.
points on 3 of 4 shooting is pretty damn good.
I mean, it was 11.
When you're
but still,
when you're that efficient, that's pretty good.
Sure, but I guess my point is, it's not like he was out there like I don't know, 12 of 16.
My point is,
something.
he didn't have a negative impact on the game. It was positive impact.
Sure,
if he went
but
3 of 13 and scored 11 points, well, that's bad for a role player. Really bad. He didn't do that.
And yeah, Stefan Castle had a relatively efficient game. He was 8 of 14 in the game. But my point being, right, like De'Aaron Fox was 4 of 14. Dylan Harper was 5 of 18, right? Like,
I know, but the Knicks weren't efficient either. The Knicks are going to play better in the next game.
I mean, relatively speaking, outside of Jalen Brunson, all the Knicks were efficient, other than Cat, just because he didn't take enough shots, right? Like, OG was 9 of 13. Josh Hart was 6 of 10. Brunson had his most efficient game of the series, even at 11 of 25. My point being that I don't necessarily. First of all, all of the first 3 games have been close. I don't expect that to change, right? Even if the Knicks win the series in 5, I think average margin of victory in the series is still going to be 4.5 points. You know, like every single one of these games is close. These are both really good teams that are competing very hard for it.
I'm not saying anything about officiating here. What I am saying is,
I get your point. My point is that that might equalize, but so might other points as well.
Maybe, but when the clock is stopped, and you get that many free throws compared to 8 for the other team, and both teams were being just as physical. Why they didn't call them both ways, I don't know. I'm not blaming the officials. The Knicks had plenty of chances to win it anyway. They did. So I'm not blaming the officials. But I don't think that you're going to see another game where there's a 13-point swing in free throws in one half.
No, I don't agree to that. I don't think there will be either. I'm just saying that.
So anyway, I'm picking the Knicks in 6. I think it's actually 5, but maybe this first
don't.
Game,
I think it's. I'm.
It's definitely not going 7.
I'm picking Knicks in 6. I also wouldn't be shocked at Spurs in 7. I really wouldn't. It really rides on tomorrow night. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. I'm picking Knicks in 6. Because I think no matter what, Spurs are winning Game 5. Question of whether or not it's Knicks in 6 or Spurs in 7 is what happens tomorrow night. So, or tonight for those of you watching it right now.
Obviously, tomorrow night's critical.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Critical for the Spurs. It doesn't mean as much for the Knicks, although it'd be a big.
I think it does mean quite a lot for the Knicks, considering what you would say in the history of what it means when a series is tied 2-2 for Game 5. I mean, the winner of Game 5 wins a series tied 2-2. like 70 something percent of the time. And so considering, I get you've already won twice there, but considering now the Spurs would be getting momentum back and then you'd be going back to San Antonio for a crucial game 5, I think next game is definitely critical for both teams. I would say obviously it's slightly more critical for the Spurs, but it's not a slouch game for the Knicks either. Like, it's a big deal. So, I mean, if you win this next game for the Knicks, you're all but guaranteeing it. If you lose it, you're getting into some scary waters. So, but yeah, I think I'm still taking Knicks in 6 because I'm expecting them to win tomorrow. But it's tight. It's tight.
Okay. All right.
You just need a couple plays to break their way either way. So, is that all we got?
Well, we can do the other thing, but we can do that as a short. So
You want to do it? So okay, yeah. I'll close this out.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching this week. Coming off the high of an all-time record week last week. Hopefully we hit that again. I didn't even know what happened.
Remember,
I just looked up one.
100th subscriber gets an Oklahoma City Comets hat.
Yeah. So view the video again, those 65 of you or whatever there were last week, and subscribe. We're getting places. Maybe. And we've got football content coming up soon. Within the next month or so, we're going to start pushing heavy towards the NFL season.
Definitely cannot wait. It's the best sport, the best league on the history.
Yeah. Once we're through with basketball season completely, don't think we're talking about baseball deeper than Shohei Ohtani, because we're not, right? We're pushing towards football season. We're getting there. We've got some previews and stuff coming for you. We'll have fun. So
yeah, 100%.
Subscribe. At Gen Beef Pod, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Hit the socials. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Generation.